In this lesson, we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines are lines on a plane that never meet. In other words, you guys already know that, but there are lines that go on forever, but they're never going to cross. Okay, sort of like railroad tracks. Okay, and then a transversal is a line that cuts across two or more lines, and we're going to talk about the transversals of parallel lines because they form some special properties. In the little drawing I've got here, the blue line is the transversal, and it cuts across the supposedly parallel lines. Now, if this transversal crosses the other lines at a 90-degree angle, those are called perpendicular lines, or lines that cross at 90 degrees. All right. So when we're talking about parallel lines, we have to talk about the different properties of parallel lines. If we're talking about between the parallel lines, sort of like right in here, these are called interior. Okay, these are called, that's on the interior of the parallel lines. And if it's not on the interior, it's going to be on the outside or the exterior. All right. So we have an exterior above one line and also below the line. Okay, so there's the angles. If the angles are not between the parallel lines, then they're on the exterior. So now let's look at how they relate to the transversal. So if we're looking at this red one, right here, okay, you notice that that's to the left of this transversal right here. See, the transversal goes through there. So this is to the left of the transversal. This is to the right of the transversal. So that means they're on alternate sides of the transversal. So they're both on the interior and on opposite sides, or on alternate sides of the transversal. So these are called alternate interior. All right. So the red ones are alternate interior, and the blue ones are also alternate interior because they're also on opposite sides of the transversal and they're on the interior of the parallel lines. If we're talking about the exterior, okay, these angles here also, if you look at, they're on the exterior, they're on the outside. So the red one up here is on the right-hand side of the transversal. Remember, here's the transversal, goes all the way across. Okay, this is on the right-hand side. This is the bottom one is on the left-hand side. So they're on alternate sides of the transversal, but they're on the exterior. So these are alternate exterior. Same thing with the blue lines, or with the blue angles. And then there's one more, and this is a little bit different because it's corresponding. Okay, the corresponding angles have one angle on the exterior and one angle on the interior. Okay, so this is on the exterior, this one's on the interior. So that's sort of a defining feature of the corresponding angles. All right. So if you see that, you automatically need to be thinking about corresponding. And the reason they're corresponding is because their position between the two angles corresponds with the intersection. So if you look at this top intersection, this circle, multicolored circle, the red one is on the top right, and on the bottom one, the red one also is on the top right. So if I say top right and top right, okay, and you'll see that the green one, okay, here the top one is on the interior, and it's bottom left, and then if you look at bottom left here, that's also on the exterior. Okay, so the angles occupy the same relative location on the intersection of the transversal and the parallel lines. Okay, and same thing with the blue and the purple. Blue is top left, okay, and this one is top left, okay, and the purple is bottom right and bottom right. Okay, so the properties of transversals to parallel lines. Basically, all of these angles that we've talked about are all going to be congruent, which, remember, congruency means that they have the same measure. Okay, so they are going to have the same measure as their other angles. And parallel is two vertical lines right side by side, and the symbol for perpendicular looks like an upside down capital T. All right, so let's do some examples. All right, in the figure, it says line L, that's this one right here. Line L is parallel, see the little symbol there, to line M, okay? And says find the measure of each of the angles. So we're given this one angle up here, which is 124 degrees. So angle 7 is down here. So we look at the 124 degrees, and that is an exterior angle. 7 is an exterior angle, and 7 and the 124 degrees are on opposite sides of the transversal. These are alternate exterior angles, and we know that alternate exterior angles are congruent, so that would be 124 degrees. All right. The next angle is angle 4. All right. That's right here. So once again, 124 degrees is on the exterior. 4 is on the interior. So one exterior, one interior. We think corresponding, and so we check. They're both on the same side of the line. 124 is top left. 4 is top left. So that means they are corresponding angles. Okay. All right. And corresponding angles are congruent. So that's 124 degrees. All right. Angle 2. Okay, so angle 2 is right here. All right. And you may say, well, wait a minute, we didn't talk about that. Well, not in this lesson, but in previous lessons, we talked about that if two angles put together form a straight line, they're supplementary. Okay, and so this angle here and this angle here form the straight line. So they're supplementary, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So we have 180 minus 124. Okay, so when we subtract, so 10 minus 4 is 6, 7 minus 2 is 5, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So angle 2 is 56 degrees, all right, because it's supplementary, okay? And then angle 3, okay, angle 3 also goes back to one of the previous lessons. If you notice that angle 3 is right directly opposite 124, all right, and it's formed by two intersecting straight lines. So that's a vertical, those are vertical angles. And we remember from previous lessons that is congruent as well. So that's 124 degrees. All right. And then the next example is just more of the same, just additional examples. Line N is parallel to line M. Okay, and find the measure of each of the angles. So angle 6 is an interior, 144 is an exterior, and 144 is top right, 6 is top right. So that means they are corresponding. Okay. So they're and I'm just going to abbreviate. And so they are congruent. So that would be 144 degrees. All right. Angle 3 is the vertical angle to 144. So that means it's congruent as well. So it's 144 degrees. Angle 1 is supplementary. Okay. Supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So we're going to say 180 minus 144. All right. So borrow, that becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 7 minus 4 is 3. So that is 36 degrees. And angle 8, well, angle 8 is here. Okay. You might say, well, wait a minute, that we didn't talk about if the exterior angles are on the same side of the line. No, we didn't, but we also found out that angle 1 is 36 degrees. Angle 1 is 36 degrees. So those are alternate exterior, okay? And so that tells us that those are corresponding, or not corresponding, those are congruent. So that means angle 8 is 36 degrees. Okay, so that does it for this lesson. So ask questions if you have any questions. We'll talk to y'all later.